It's part 2 of the Old Gnawbone challenge. What's going on, guys? If you want to support our content and pick up this month's amazing Patreon rewards, you can do so at patreon.com/itresolves. If you're interested in custom playmats and sleeves, visit YourPlaymat.com and use code ItResolves10YP for 10% off your entire purchase. What is going on, everybody, and welcome to part 2 of our Old Gnawbone challenge. Now, if you do not know what this challenge is, essentially what we have decided to do is give you all a build-around card, ask you to build a deck with that card as the main focus. You can build off of specifically that card, or maybe some themes of that card, or something along those lines, but you have to put a deck together that features that card for sure. As such, we are rating you on the number of wins you get, but also the creativity with your build. What I'd like to see is a little bit more thought put into it than just saying, well, this is obviously the win con or obviously the big card. I want to see some stages, some levels of thought, if you will. You guys have been very good about doing that so far, and I'm really excited to get into today's deck. Worth noting, on Monday, we did have part 1 of this challenge with Spinneraptor's deck, who put up a very, very strong score. I believe it was 6 was the final. I'll fact check that after the fact, but I'm pretty sure it was 6. We did get 2 wins, and they did have a creativity score of 4 out of 5. We are rating them all on out of 5. But if you would like to be a part of this challenge or future challenges, if you would like to do any of that, you certainly can. We've got our Discord link available to you. It is down below. We have a challenge submissions channel, which is where all of these go. And if you would like to submit, please do so there. As such, this is the Wednesday episode, though, and what that means is we get to give you guys, the next build-around card. That's right, on Wednesdays, we like to announce next week's challenge early so that you guys can take the opportunity and go ahead and build some awesome stuff. We're doing something a little weird this time, though. We're still picking a build-around card. We're still going to be basing it on creativity and the number of wins, but the card itself is quite strange. It's Arcane Adaptation. I know, it's a weird one, but hear me out because I think there are some really fun things you can do with this. You get to turn all of your creatures, whether they're in your hand, in your deck, on the field, it doesn't matter, into a single creature type, which I think means you could do some pretty awesome stuff. So I want to see what you guys can come up with. Again, try and be creative, please, and I will hopefully see some really nice little deck lists coming through in the next few days. But guys, let's jump into today's deck. And here it is. This is recommended to us by our amazing friend, Breaded and Fried. Gonna go ahead and say the creativity score is a 4, same as Spinneraptor, albeit this is not the same kind of list. Spinneraptor was very heavily focused on the Reanimator strategy. This is much more treasure focused, so we've got a lot of treasure generation with Prosperous Innkeeper. We've got the amazing little Brazen Outlaw here. We've got Xorn, so basically anytime 1 or more treasure tokens would be created, you get an additional one. Glasspool Mimic to kind of double up on whatever we'd like to. Goldspan Dragon is here. The Arcanist, which is a very interesting one. We'll talk about that a little bit as well as we go through. And then, of course, Old Gnawbone sitting at the top. Now, you may notice we do have Genesis Ultimatum here. The goal is very much to ramp into a big old Genesis Ultimatum and hopefully go crazy. But it also has a very interesting little kind of side spell with this Outlaw. So basically, it says sacrifice 5 treasures, search your library for an artifact or a dragon card, and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Now, that very well obviously works great with Old Gnawbone because it allows us to get it out and then create more treasures, which then we can use to sack again and hopefully get Inferno of the Star Mounts, which does have flying and haste, can't be countered, and then you can pay a red and it gets +1/+0 until the end of the turn. When its power becomes 20 this way, it deals 20 damage to any target. That's the win con. That's what we're trying to get to. That's what we're going to try and do. I'm really excited because I think that this could be really, really awesome if we get this one to work. But we will see, of course. It's got some interesting stuff, to say the least. But I'm very, very excited to jump into this one. So without further ado, first of all, Braden Fried, thank you so much for the submission. Let's jump into your 3 games, my friend. We do, again, have to beat a score of 6. Let's see if we can do it. And here we are, guys, for game number 1. Now, do we want to keep this hand? I think we do. We've got the Dragonfire for a little bit of interaction as well as the Outlaw. Now, I'm going to be doing a little bit of learning with this deck because I'll be honest and say I haven't actually played with most, if not almost all of the cards in this list. So this is going to be a fun one, but I'm very, very excited. It's going to be a really, really cool one. Let's go ahead, get the Outlaw down here, and we'll see what we can do. Interesting that they have got Paladin class. That is going to make things like the Dragon's Fire a little bit trickier, but so far it doesn't seem to be much of a problem, so I'm okay with it. Let's go ahead and get the Innkeeper down here. This is just going to go ahead and get our treasure token going. This is also going to provide us with a treasure token as well, which is fantastic. We are 2 out of 5 is what we have got so far. We've obviously got a little ways to go still, but now we can actually start playing a little bit more from our hand as well, which is very, very nice. Interesting. Okay, so they just didn't play anything. So we actually have a decision to make. I think the decision is definitely to do this, though, because this is going to give us extra, which should make up for the fact that we had to spend one, if that makes sense. So the trick was, you know, do we spend the treasure or do we just save it? But we would have ended up with the same number of treasures anyway, thanks to Xorn. I assume I'm saying that correctly. So it actually worked out okay for us. And this coming turn, we can actually just go get Old Gnawbone or even the Inferno if we would like. But I do think Old Gnawbone is going to be the trick here. We can do that at instant speed as well, which is worth noting. All right, so let's do this. We don't actually have to reveal anything. So I'm gonna not do it. I don't think we need to. So let's do that. We are going to declare the attack, and our opponent gave up. I mean, we were about to do something cool, but we did get the win, which does take your score, my friend, up to 5. Let's see, we only need 1 more game to tie, but 2 to get that win. So let's see if we can do it. And here we are, guys, for game number 2. Now, do we keep this hand? This is a little bit of an odd one. Enters the battlefield. Search your library for an instant with the same name as the card in your graveyard. Reveal it, put it in your hand. Interesting. Okay, I'm curious as to why exactly this is in here. I'll be honest. I think we're going to try it. It may not be the safest keep, but we do have a Llanowar Elf, which is going to help us get to these. We just kind of need a little bit more to do. So hopefully we can draw a little bit more interaction or something bigger that will actually count to making our hand a little bit better here. Our opponent has mulliganed twice already. If they do instant just like mulligan, we're not going to count this game. So we'll see if this actually works out or not. Wow, okay, down to 4 cards. They are going to play it out, though, which, hey, I admire. I like it. That's great. We are going to lead on the mountain since this would come into play tapped anyway. It really doesn't matter since the Llanowar Elf is going to come down next turn regardless. So this is just a nice safe play. Looks like they have a Temple of Abandon. So this is Gruul at minimum, which is interesting. And we'll see how this one goes. I'm very curious. Lalos is the username here. All right, let's get this down. Let's get you down. And we just passed the turn. Next turn, I mean, we've got the Triome, which is nice because it's obviously going to help fix our mana pretty efficiently, in fact. And then that way we don't have to... Oh, rude. Okay, fair enough. So this is land destruction. Not a fun thing to be up against, if I'm honest, but we do get a free attack in here, so let's go ahead and take it. Thankfully, the Llanowar Elf is here, so it's going to keep us somewhat in the game, but we definitely need some more lands here. Ketria Triome is nice. Glasspool Mimic is coming down as a land. All right, so let's do this. We're going to pay the 2. We're going to go ahead and play this out. I want to take the opportunity to play everything that we can on the turn that we can play it, because if they are just going to be blowing up our lands the whole time, then really the way to win this game is just through getting some stuff down early and hoping it stays there. So they are going to take out the red source, which is clever. That's the way to do it for sure. Yeah, I mean, we just play the Ketria Triome, and they don't have anything in hand at this point, so We do just kind of have to hope that they brick here. Thankfully, they did mulligan to 4, which is kind of rough for any deck, but in particular, I would think a land destruction deck would have a bit of a hard time with it. Okay, so I do kind of just think the play is the other Xorn. Xorn? This guy. It's just the other one. So we're just going to attack in here. We can play this as a land, and I think we actually do because we do have so many of them. We have to keep ourselves moving forward in this game, and that's the best way to do it. So I will take that opportunity gladly. But truthfully, they just don't have all that much that they're doing. I mean, here they are going to get a Bone Crusher down, I suppose, which is good. Don't get me wrong, but it's really not the end of the world for us. Not so much, at least. So, that's interesting. Okay, do we have... We don't. On your hand, then shuffle. Interesting. I wish we did, honestly. I mean, this does pull the like Dragonfire style card, so it is worth noting that that does work. I'm gonna offer up the trade here. I assume they take it. Sure. Okay. Then what I'm gonna do is just Glasspool Mimic here on the Llanowar Elf. And I'm just going to take every opportunity we can to produce mana. If they want to attack in, that's perfectly fine. I'm just going to take the one. Let's play you. It's just at least a good little blocker here. Not thankfully, we can't actually do anything with it, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can play this as a land, and that does give us the 7 that we need next turn, assuming they don't draw land destruction, which obviously they could very well have. So we do have to keep that in mind. This, can they activate it? They can. Wow. Okay. Very good. Ooh, thank goodness. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We've got Old Gnawbone. As long as they can't deal with Old Gnawbone, which I doubt there's a lot of ways that they can, we are fine. Because at this point now, we just get to attack in. We create 7 treasure tokens minimum, and then we can basically do whatever we want. So this is actually not bad. They do have a Grazer. Worth noting they can block with that Grazer, so that is fair. We are cut off from red mana as well, which is a bit frustrating, but again, we've got the Old Gnawbone. We've also got a backup Old Gnawbone in hand. This turned into a very interesting game, actually. I am very curious. I mean, at this point, I have to imagine we are in the lead. They got lucky with the Grazer just to have a blocker, but like, this doesn't really do anything. I mean, it's frustrating, but they can blow up all of our lands now. I mean, we just have an Old Gnawbone, so I'm not terribly worried about that. Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. All right, let's do this. Let's, we actually can do a little bit of both here. So let's Goldspan Dragon. And then let's Genesis Ultimatum. And this is where we win. No doubt about it. Perfect. Get all that down. And we got a backup Genesis Ultimatum, which we can actually just play. We could actually pump into this and try and go that route as well, which might be something. Oh my gosh, we got another Genesis Ultimatum. All right. I mean, that's pretty good. There's the concession. We did it. Breaded and Fried, you are tied for the lead, my friend. Let's see if we can get one more win. And that's going to put you in the lead if we can do it. So let's see what happens. All right, guys, here we are for game number 3. I think we are going to keep this hand. We're going to give this one a shot. The Outlaw makes this a very strong opening hand, in my opinion. And because we do have the Ketria Triome, I think we are in okay shape to just run for it. Doesn't look like we're against land destruction, which is hugely important this time around, but we will see, of course. So let's get the green source down. Let's go ahead and play the Outlaw. Seems like a fairly straightforward play here. This deck is a very interesting one, so they get to pile on counters to this little wolf and just start dealing some damage. It's a very strong strategy, in my opinion, and slightly difficult for us in particular to deal with, but we should be able to get some treasure tokens pretty quickly here. We might be able to just capitalize on that. Abundant Harvest, they reveal a non-land. Okay. Let's go ahead and throw this out there. Let's go ahead and get Xorn, that out, and go ahead and create a couple treasure tokens, and we'll pass right now. We're going to be taking some hits for sure, but we are producing significantly more mana than they are, which is absolutely important. And in fact, we're going to be able to get to 5 next turn if we do this correctly. We play land, we play Xorn. We attack with the 2/1, which is going to give us plenty, and then that way we can just play a massive dragon, which seems really good. So we actually don't have to play an untapped land here, so let's do this. All too happy to attack in really with both of these, I suppose. Let's go ahead and do this now. What this allows us to do is, if we do deal damage to the opponent, we get a lot of those treasure tokens now, so it is worth doing right away. And then at this point, if they want to block the Outlaw, that's kind of okay. We should still get treasure tokens, which then allow us to play even more of these. So, wow, okay, we got 9 of them. So the question becomes, do we want to go for this again? I think actually we can just wait. The reason I say that, if they have a sweeper, if they have any kind of thing, what we'd like to be able to do is leave this up so that way we can just play the Inferno and potentially just win the game next turn. Interesting. Okay. I mean, that's not going to do it. That's for sure. We'll resolve that. Let's go ahead and do this now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Submit 5. That's going to allow us to pull an Inferno. Or do we want just Goldspan Dragon? I think I kind of just want Goldspan Dragon. Actually kind of like that better. Let's go ahead and do that. Now we can just play the Inferno. And now we should be able to just win. Let's do that. Let's do this. Do this. Auto pay. And there we go. Breaded and fried. We did it, my friend. You are officially in the lead. Let's have a little chat. All right, well, Breaded and Fried taking down the wins with a beautiful 3-0 finish with what is a really awesome deck, I will just go ahead and say. Now, again, I want to reiterate, this was a creative level of 4 out of 5, and again, that is judged by myself, but also by our mod Alex. We kind of tandem that a little bit and kind of average it out, and 4 is what we actually both landed on for this one. Highly, highly creative, for sure, very interactive, and you got to do some really cool stuff with it, for sure, but that does leave a little 1-point discrepancy. So if we have a creative of 5 or even a creative of 4 that gets another 3 wins, that means Breaded and Fried, you either could be beaten or you could at least be tied for the win. Now, if that does happen again, I just want to reiterate, anybody tied for the win, you're all gonna get the proxy pack at the end, so do not worry. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Breaded and Fried, thank you for what was an amazing submission. Spinner Raptor, sorry my friend, you're not gonna win it this week, but better luck next time. Do make sure, if you would like to submit for next week, the Arcane Adaptation card is our build around card. Let's see what you guys can do with this one. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff for sure, but be creative. I want to see what you guys can come up with. You do have a higher chance of winning, obviously, if you've got a more creative build. But guys, until then, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.